Hi, everybody. This is Ross from Church Windows here to talk to you about voiding checks within accounting. Um, Before we get officially started, the instructions and the document I'm going to walk you through, or I'm getting the information from, we're doing the webinar on today, is coming out of our Accounting 203 workbook. And that is available for purchase on our website. Um, and we have, so I'll be here doing the presentation, and then Josh is also answering questions if you have them throughout um, the webinar. I do ask you try and keep them on topic to what we're doing today, since there's so many of you guys and only two of us. So let's get started. So I'm going to open up accounting. So there are essentially two reasons to void a check that we concern ourselves with. And one is to just record the check number for a check that was damaged during the printing process or was printed incorrectly. So it was never actually used to send out to somebody. It was just during the process of actually printing the check it was damaged. And a check was issued in error, or a check that was printed needs to be reissued. So a correction has to be made, or it got lost in the mail, it has to be reissued. The first one within to handle a damaged check, you just go up here to the top of the screen and click on Other at the top, and then enter spoiled check number. Boom. And that will open up this window where we basically tell it the date, whatever the check number was of the check that was spoiled. So I'm just going to put in random number. So we don't use this one for actual transactions. To deal with that, we're going to do that within browse transactions, and a couple other transactions. And then we put in the asset account that the check was written out to, and then the comments. You can put in something, destroyed by printer, and you just post that, and it just and that just basically provides an audit trail so you can figure out what's going on with each one of the checks that you may or may not have issued. The rest of the check void, we're going to have 4 different scenarios that we'll be going through. All deal with actual transactions that occurred and were posted within Church Windows. The first one is we're avoiding a check that was written in the current month that needs to be corrected and then reprinted. And we also need to find out if the bill and the payment are incorrect. So if we know the payment is incorrect, and or bill, either way, we have to go into transactions and browse, which can be found by clicking on browse up here at the top, and that opens up the window that shows you each transaction that has taken place this year. And it's sorted by default by date occurred. So in order to get the things that happened in the current month, those will typically be at the bottom of the page. And so I'm just going to pick one of the bills and payments that were incorrect. In this case, I'm just going to go with payment 139 to Columbia Gas. And that was associated with bill 133. Alrighty. And so what I can do then is, if we just need to basically reissue this check, if it had the wrong check number or the wrong amount or anything like that, we just select that line so it's highlighted and click reverse. And this is going to reverse it as of today. I'm just going to, you can put in whatever comments, say, you can say wrong amount and click OK. And that's going to reverse the payment. I'm going to do the same with the original. And if the original bill is wrong as well, you can reverse it doing the same thing. You just select it so it's highlighted and click reverse. Just to save time, I'm not going to reverse that as well. And then from here, so we still have the original payment or the original bill entered. So then I can then go into pay bills to redo the check. So I can go into, since we reverse the payment, that particular bill is no longer marked as paid. So we can go into quick pay and view outstanding bills. And that particular Columbia Gas bill is there. So we select it, create payments, and say we just needed to change the asset to something else and post that. And then we can go back into print checks and then reprint it from there. So that's how you handle when you're avoiding a check written in the current months and it needs to just be reprinted. Another thing that can happen is in a prior month, you can find the same issue happened where you have to void a check from a prior month and that needs to be reprinted in the current period. Now, when it's in a previous month or year, we don't go in and reverse the bill and payment that were made back then, because that would change already published reports and affect any bank reconciliations that have already been done. So that we handle those a little bit differently. So if we go into browse, so we leave those, anything in the prior months, we leave them as is. We just have to get basically their information when we make the correcting transaction. So what we do is, let me see if I can find it. So say that this particular bill for 151 here, or for transaction 151, the corresponding payment is 155. Say the payment got the original check got lost in the mail, and now we have to resend it. What we do is, you can jot down the basic information for this particular bill and payment. So we get the account number, the amount, and what asset account it applied to, and everything. And then we close, or we can leave this open, and then we can go up to other, like what we did with entering the spoiled check numbers, and go to asset adjust. Let me make this a little bit more manageable. And this report allows us to adjust the balance of a particular asset. So what I'm going to do is select the asset to adjust, which is the Huntington Bank checking, which was the original payment and everything, and then the I want to increase the balance. Basically, put the amount back into it. And the amount to adjust was 3614.80. And the comments you can just put if I could spell original check lost in mail. In the accounts, you choose the asset or the expense account that was originally billed. So we find it here. So property insurance. Let me put in the put in the amount and post it. Alright. And then from here, we just reissue the check. We would go into, let me close out of this. So what we would do then is we would go into enter bills. Select, and then you would just go read through the bill and payment again. So we're just reissuing the June payment. Make sure I have that. Oh, 36. So we do done at the batch, post and pay bills. And then you see that outstanding bill on the pay bills screen. And I saw a couple comments come in that I didn't put in the correct amount. I must have just mistyped it. I meant to put in that original amount. Sorry about that. So then I post that, and then you can go in and reprint that check. Okay. And then once you do all that, when you do the bank record for this current month, just make a note to make sure that you just make a note that you need to clear it like you would do everything else on your bank rec. The third situation you would do when voiding checks is you can void a check written in the current month that does not need to be reprinted. When say that the both the bill and the payment were incorrect or incorrectly entered entirely, you would just go into back into browse. And just find those original transactions. So in this case, have scroll down. So 143 and 137. Say that was a bill and payment that just shouldn't have been entered at all. You just reverse. You just put in entered, permanently reverse. And do the same for the bill as well. And then that's the third scenario for voiding the check. You just reverse those, and that's all you have to do. And then the last scenario we have is voiding a check from a prior month or year that will not be reprinted. So essentially, you determine the amount that was originally charged to that you originally billed and what the payment was for. In that case, I made a I have a couple of transactions here. Alrighty. So it was 158 and 159. So again, like what we did with the one that was being reprinted, we just determine, get the basic stats of the transaction, the amount, the account that it originally applied to, and everything, and then we go into other up at the top and asset adjust. Again, put in the account, the asset account and the amount to increase. And let's make sure I actually put in the correct amount this time. The amount to adjust is 125. And the checking account, or the expense account, is telephone for 125. And comments are optional, so if you don't want to put them in at all, you don't have to. You can just click post, and that does it. And then when you run your bank rec, you just make sure you clear the old check and the bank deposit, and you are good to go. The only thing when you're dealing with things from prior months, so when it's a prior month earlier this year, you can run the asset adjust and adjust the expense accounts that was originally billed. But if it's in a prior year, since the expense accounts zeroes out at the beginning of each year, what we generally recommend is, instead of doing the expense account, if it's from last year, you do the fund, so the 300 account that's associated, that is attached to that expense account, if it's from a prior year. But again, you don't technically have to. That's just something we generally recommend. But that is essentially all we have today. Are there any questions? Amy asked if these instructions are downloadable from the website. There is a post on our website about voiding checks. Let me go to our website real quick. So if you click on the little search button in the top right corner, the little magnifying glass, and just do a search for void. The very first result is accounting voiding checks, and it goes into so this web page has basically the instructions that I had, or you can click the view or print PDF, and you can print that for your records and instructions. Joanna is asking, how do you know which bill and payment match? If you're having some confusion about that, the easiest thing would be if you go to a particular bill and click View. Up here in the top right corner, it can tell you what transaction it was paid from, or which transaction paid that particular bill. That way, that can help you match it up. Hopefully, that helps. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions. Okay, wait. Please add the previous year. All right. Jennifer is asking. Sounds like you're just asking for a little bit more clarity on previous year checks, and I can on the instructions on the website, I can definitely have them put in some clarity about how to deal with a previous year as well. We're rewriting the workbooks and these documents pretty constantly, and yeah, I can put that in there for you on how to deal with if it happens in a previous year. Okay. Not seeing anything else coming in, so I'm going to shut this down. If you guys have any further questions, you can call us at 1-800-533-5227, or you can give us or you can email us at support@churchwindows.com. Thanks. Bye-bye.